guys, it's Leah and welcome back to my channel. So this is the second video that I'll be posting today, and this is the Infinity War review with spoilers. So please, if you have not seen Infinity War yet, at this point, click above to my review without spoilers and go watch that instead. I don't know why anybody would want to get spoiled, but if you do, we are getting started right now. So this is your last chance to click off of this video before you get majorly spoiled for Infinity War. I knew it was going to start out with a death, but I didn't know it was going to be Loki. Hopefully the God of Mischief still has a few tricks up his sleeve, but he looked pretty dead, and it's pretty sad. Second of all, Red Skull, really? Like, I know that this film was jam-packed to references and nostalgia and things like that, but he looked like a Dementor. Like, what was up with that? Like, I really don't understand. And I just want to get into real quick, like, Josh Brolin nailed it as Thanos. I love the backstory, and I think it created more depth for the character. And if you would have told me at the beginning of the film that I would be watching Thanos cry, I probably would have laughed in your face. So it worked. It really did work. Alright, I also want to talk about all the deaths, and maybe it's just because I'm in severe denial, but nobody really said they died. Like, you know, and it doesn't really make sense to me when they have all of these other films lined up for a lot of the characters that died. So I'm thinking maybe Thanos took them to like another plane or something like that, and something is going to happen there. But I really have no idea. I'm still holding out. I feel like nobody told me they died, so I'm going to see this film again this upcoming weekend just because it's so much to process. But I'm still holding out. Like, I feel like there's still hope. Maybe that's just the Star Wars inside of me, but I don't know. But for the characters that are like dead, like Gamora, like, what are they going to do for Guardians 3? Are they going to do it without her, or is there going to be, like, some way to bring her back? Because Guardians 3 without Gamora, I think, would be extremely weird. And not to mention that this film ended on a huge cliffhanger, as it should have, because, like I said, this is all kind of like a setup for Part 2, even though they're trying really hard not to look at it that way. But I also want to talk about the acting in this film was really intense. If we look at the earlier works, such as the first Thor or the first Iron Man, like, they have come such a long way, and it's part of what made Infinity War so great was they were so invested in their role and in the character by now, and it was just so intense, and I loved it. Not to mention the Stan Lee cameo as usual. I will be doing an Easter egg video, but I just had to mention that because I love his cameos. It was so funny. But I also kind of noticed it's like most of the original Avengers are now going to save kind of like the new people type thing, which I think that's why it's kind of getting a lot of harsh criticism, because if you look at this as an Avengers film, that's what this is. They team up to go against this bad guy to save other people. If you start comparing it to other things, I think that's why critics are finding so many things wrong with it. But if you look at it as solely an Avengers film, they nailed it. The two things, Tony Stark getting stabbed, the theater collectively gasped. It was insane. Like, that was so sad. And then, you know, Peter clutching on to Tony Stark and saying he didn't want to die, like that, I was crying. And I'm pretty sure almost somebody got up and like walked out because they couldn't take it, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go that far, but it was extremely intense. And Tom Holland gets a lot of kudos for that specific part from me. Because before this, I'm not a big fan of Tom Holland, but now that I've seen him as Spider-Man a little more, I'm kind of starting to warm up to it. Another thing that's really irritating me about this film is I just wish that Wanda freaking took the Time Stone from Strange and destroyed the Time Stone. Like, I get this Strange is all like, oh, must protect. But that's kind of like a big hole for me. Like, I wish that would have been, I feel like that would have been figured out, and that we wouldn't even be in the situation that we're in, but then we wouldn't have another Infinity War to look forward to. But Let's talk about that post-credits scene, though. Let's talk about how in all of my other videos I'm like, oh, I really think that Captain Marvel is going to be introduced in a post-credit scene. Like, first of all, we get Nick Fury, who we haven't seen in ages, and then as he is dying, the post-credits, he sends a message, and then Captain Marvel's, like, little logo shows up, and I'm wondering how, obviously it's Carol Danvers, but I'm really wondering how they're gonna do this, because Captain Marvel is supposed to be, like, set in the 90s, but I wonder if that's why Thanos took them to another plane, so that we can kind of bridge the gap between the 90s to now. Maybe? I don't know, but your girl told you. Your girl was like, they're gonna put Captain Marvel in an end of credit scene. I didn't know it was gonna be this one, but I'm so excited for that. The last thing I want to touch on in this like review is the special effects and the CGI, especially for Thanos, and the fact that he could stand to all of these actors and actresses and still be just as real and still be just as good was amazing. There were times where, you know, this film felt a little rushed, but like I said in my non-spoiler video, this, even though they're trying to stay away from the part 1, it really is all leading up to next year. So that's all I have for my review. I absolutely adored this movie. It blew all of my hopes and dreams and expectations for it. I'm going to see it again. Maybe I'll have some different opinions, but what really matters to me right now is my initial experience and the moment that I had. The script for this film was amazing. It was everything we've wanted from a Marvel movie. It was funny. I mean, sometimes Marvel goes a little too far with the jokes for me, but that's a Marvel movie. That's what we expect. It was funny. It was dramatic. It was sad. It was intense. All at the right moments. The music score invoked all of the right emotions at the right time. The storylines and the way they managed to transition from planet to planet, from location to location, and still not have you lost, and the way that they managed to have so many characters and have it still work. So I loved Avengers Infinity War, potentially one of my favorite Marvel movies. We will see. I have not made that decision yet, but as usual, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.